In a small village nestled among the lush greenery of the African countryside, there flowed a gentle river known to locals as Oshun River. This river was not only a source of life-giving water, but also a place where tales of wonder and mystery often unfolded. Among the villagers were two young girls named Talani and Adaku. They were inseparable companions, their laughter echoing through the village as they went about their daily chores. One of their regular tasks was to fetch water from Oshun River, a duty they performed with joyous enthusiasm. It was on one such day, as the sun cast its golden rays upon the tranquil waters of the river, that the girls encountered a stranger unlike any they had ever seen before. He was tall and handsome, with piercing eyes that seemed to hold secrets untold. His presence exuded an air of mystery, captivating the attention of Talani and Adaku. As the girls approached the river with their empty pots, the stranger turned to them with a warm smile. "Greetings, young maidens," he said in a voice that seemed to resonate with power. "I am but a traveler passing through your village. Might I trouble you for a drink of water?" Talani, ever the gracious one, stepped forward with her pot. "Of course, sir," she replied with a smile. "Please, help yourself." The stranger thanked her and bent down to fill his cup from the cool waters of the river. As he drank, his eyes lingered on Talani, as if drawn to her by some invisible force. Adaku, who had been watching with keen interest, felt a pang of jealousy stir within her heart. When the stranger had finished his drink, he turned to Talani with a curious glint in his eyes. "You have a kind heart, young maiden," he said softly. "I would be honored if you would join me here by the river tomorrow at the same hour. There is something I wish to discuss with you." Talani's heart fluttered at the stranger's words, and she nodded eagerly. "I will be here," she promised. As the stranger bid them farewell and disappeared into the depths of the forest, Adaku could not shake the feeling of unease that had settled over her. She watched Talani with narrowed eyes, her jealousy festering like a poisonous seed in her soul. Little did she know that her envy would soon lead to a series of events that would change their lives forever. The following day dawned bright and clear, with the sun casting its warm glow upon the village once more. Talani and Adaku eagerly made their way to Oshun River, their hearts filled with anticipation for the promised meeting with the mysterious stranger. As they approached the riverbank, they saw the stranger waiting for them beneath the shade of a towering iroko tree. His eyes lit up with pleasure at the sight of Talani, who blushed under his gaze. Adaku, standing beside her friend, felt a surge of jealousy grip her heart once more. The stranger greeted Talani warmly and motioned for her to sit beside him on the grassy bank. "I am glad you came, dear Talani," he said softly. "There is much I wish to share with you." Talani smiled nervously, her heart fluttering at the attention of the handsome stranger. "What is it that you wish to tell me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Before the stranger could reply, Adaku stepped forward, her eyes blazing with determination. "Talani cannot stay," she declared boldly. "She has already promised to another." Talani gasped in shock at her friend's words, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Adaku, what are you saying?" she cried. "I am not promised to anyone." But Adaku ignored her protests, her jealousy clouding her judgment. "It is true," she insisted. "Talani is to be married to the son of the village chief. They have been betrothed since childhood." The stranger's eyes narrowed in suspicion as he turned to Talani. "Is this true, my dear?" he asked, his voice tinged with disappointment. Talani shook her head frantically, her heart pounding with fear. "No, it's not true," she cried. "I am not promised to anyone. Please, believe me." But the stranger's trust had already been shaken by Adaku's deceitful words. With a heavy heart, he rose to his feet and turned away from Talani. "I see now that I have been mistaken," he said quietly. "Forgive me for intruding upon your lives." As he disappeared into the forest once more, Talani sank to her knees, her eyes brimming with tears. "Why did you lie, Adaku?" she whispered brokenly. "Why did you betray me?" But Adaku could offer no answer, her own heart heavy with guilt and regret. She had let her jealousy consume her, and now she would have to live with the consequences of her actions. Talani's heart was shattered, her trust in her friend shaken to its core. She could not comprehend why Adaku would betray her in such a cruel manner. As tears streamed down her cheeks, she knew that things would never be the same between them again. Meanwhile, Adaku stood frozen with guilt, unable to meet Talani's accusing gaze. The weight of her actions pressed down on her like a leaden cloak, suffocating her with remorse. She wanted desperately to take back her words, to undo the damage she had wrought, but it was too late. The days that followed were filled with tension and sorrow, as Talani withdrew into herself, nursing the pain of betrayal. Adaku, consumed by guilt, tried to reach out to her friend, but Talani's walls were impenetrable, her trust shattered beyond repair. As weeks turned into months, the rift between the two friends widened, their once inseparable bond now broken beyond repair. Adaku watched helplessly as Talani drifted further and further away, her heart heavy with regret for the part she had played in their downfall. But little did they know that their troubles had only just begun. For lurking in the shadows, unseen and unheard, was the sinister presence of the mysterious stranger from the river. He had not forgotten Talani, nor had he forgiven Adaku for her deception. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky, Adaku found herself drawn once more to the banks of Oshun River. The memory of her betrayal weighed heavily on her heart, driving her to seek solace in the quiet solitude of the night. As she stood beneath the branches of the Iroko tree, bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, a chill ran down her spine. She felt as though she were being watched, as though unseen eyes were boring into her very soul. Then, without warning, a voice spoke from the darkness, sending shivers down her spine. "You have meddled in affairs beyond your understanding, young maiden," it whispered, its tone cold and menacing. Adaku's heart pounded in terror as she searched frantically for the source of the voice. "Who are you?" she cried, her voice trembling with fear. But there was no answer, only the sound of rustling leaves and the creaking of branches in the wind. And then, in the blink of an eye, Adaku felt herself being pulled into the darkness, swallowed up by the shadows of the Iroko tree. Talani and the villagers awoke the next morning to find Adaku's bed empty, her whereabouts unknown. Panic gripped the village as they searched frantically for their missing friend, but all they found were her clothes scattered on the ground at the riverbank. Talani's heart broke anew as she realized the extent of Adaku's desperation. She blamed herself for driving her friend away, for failing to see the signs of her distress. But deep down, she knew that something far more sinister was at play. For lurking within the depths of the Iroko tree, unseen and unheard, was the demonic presence of the mysterious stranger. And as Talani and the villagers wept for their lost friend, they could only pray that she would someday find her way back to the light.